Good morning, everybody. Today is the fourth day in the month of April 2022. Happy new month to everybody. My name is Heritage Adisa, market analyst at Hot Forex. And quickly we'll check through the markets, find out what the dominance and dominant sentiment is in the market, if the opportunities, and then how we can take advantage of it. But please don't forget, this is just a communication material. And nothing in this communication should be considered as investment advice or investment recommendation. Users acknowledge that investment in FX and CFD products is characterized by a certain degree of uncertainty, that any investment of this nature involves a high level of risk for which users are solely responsible and liable. What we have this morning in terms of the overall market environment is a more positive tilt to start the day. Right? Generally, you look at all the risk assets, the market analysis, you notice that you have equities trading higher, have high beta currencies pushing higher as well, especially the commodity currency side, and then you have the safe havens lagging. On the news wires, yes, there's been not so much progress in terms of the ceasefire talks in Russia and Ukraine, right? Russia chief just said that the draft peace agreement is still not ready. So, but talks are set to continue today. So that's also one to also let's be optimistic about. Although there's been reports from Germany that Europe and the West plans to, dish out more sanctions on Russia in the coming days. Now, that is pressure on the euro so far today, but it also puts a cloud over the overall positive environment in the market. And if this escalates or, just watch the developments there. If it becomes negative, that could definitely derail sentiment so far. On the equity side, you have, yes, Asian equities trading mostly choppy for the day. Chinese holiday also there. But apart from that, the European and American futures are also higher to start the day. In the currency space, the Japanese yen lags amongst the major FX. Positive sentiment, pressure on Japanese yen. And then now that month end and fiscal end year end flows are out of the way, clearly, the reasons why we had Japanese yen weakness for the month of March is still very much in play and hasn't really changed. And then you're having it so far in today's session as well. CTF is also pressured. On the other hand, you have AUD leading the FX majors. Yes, tomorrow we have the RBA, interest rate meeting where markets are expecting the hawkish surprise from the RBA. One of the reasons they're pushing up the Australian dollar. Apart from that, you also have Chinese stimulus still ongoing that helps the Australian dollar as well. And then the overall market environment is also helping the Australian dollar. NZD is also pushing higher as well in today's session, right? Equities, like I said, trading mostly positive. Oil prices are higher. Right, also bouncing off the lows that we had in yesterday's session. Brent crude is over $105 per barrel, and then US oil is also up over $100 per barrel as well in today's session. So there's also that to pay attention to. The US dollar index pushing higher, weakness in the euro, weakness in the yen there as well, also helping the dollar index up. The bond market remains pressured, even though yields have not really done so much in today's session, mostly flat, but clearly expectations for higher, faster interest rates with RBA members like Williams, Daly, Evans, mostly supportive of a 50 basis point hike in the next meeting. So clearly, all that supports the dollar, supports the yield, and then pressures the bond market as well. VIX is grinding lower as well today's session. Also clearly, indicating a positive start to the day. And there's that. I said, note that it's a Monday. We have bank holiday in China, and then the economic calendar is really mostly light. So it's very likely we have moves just remaining marginal, for the day. As a matter of fact, for the entire week, we don't really have so much on the calendar. It's not really a busy one there. Yes, AUD looks good, but if you look at AUD, you want to look at it against several currencies will not be a bad idea. Looking to pair the strong currency against the weak ones will not be a bad idea. But you also need to wait out for clearer technical, levels, clearer technical entry because the moves are still mostly marginal and there's still, a lot of shaky news flow that we also need to pay attention to, especially with the new developments when it comes to further sanctions on Russia. So there's that to pay attention to. Looking across board, we talked about equities being up for the day. Yes, we've seen it push higher. This is today, the 4th of April. We're seeing it pushing higher today, but you can see that the moves are still very marginal, still within Friday's flow rather. And then you want to also look up to this overall resistance around 4550. So clearly that is also one to also be very watchful about. You look across board, mostly the same story across equity space. Even European futures as well push higher. Good, even good. Now you're seeing them pushing lower as well. So that tells you that yes, overall sentiment is positive, but heading into technical levels, you look at where we are on this particular one, for example. Clearly, you don't want to just jump in without having a clear technical signal. You can see overall support level, resistance, and now we're finding some form of resistance around here as well. So in as much as you have the overall positive environment, I think waiting for more technical signals will be better before looking to jump into anything as well. On the oil side, still pushing higher. Yes, US oil over 100, UK oil over 105, right? But if you look at where we are currently, in today's session, yes, it's up over 0.87% so far in today's session, but still clearly within Friday's ranges. So that means that you also want to still be very, very cautious about this. It's not just about jumping in and out of trades. It's more about, trades that have high probability. And for now, things looking this shaky, it's a little bit, tricky overall and generally. So there's also that to pay attention to. All right. Looking over to the dollar index, yes, pushing mostly flat in today's session here, although still up on the day, but not by so much of a margin, still within yesterday's ranges. As long as we continue to have weakness in Japanese yen and the euro, it should help the dollar index up more in today's session, but mostly not doing so much, in session up from the open, but still not so much to latch onto on that particular front. The VIX is down on the day, following through from Friday's moves, and yet clearly indicative of a more, more positive environment generally in the day. Now, looking over to the strengths and weaknesses of currencies, if you want to look out for, strengths in the likes of Australian dollar against Japanese yen, the likes of New Zealand dollar against Japanese yen, CAD against Japanese yen, I like to leave euro and pounds out right now because there's more sensitive negativity around there. The dollar for now, not really looking as interesting for me. But if I even wanted to look at that, there's still a couple of things to pay attention to. NZD-JPY, for example, is trading, look at this overhead resistance trend line here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This really just, puts a brakes on what I'm trying to do here so far. You also look at this overhead resistance area around here. And that tells you that if I even wanted to look out for further upside on this, I like to see at least Friday's highs, recent session highs being clear to the upside before looking to, jumping on this, or at least a clear breakout of this trend line, a retest, and then maybe further pushes to the upside on that would be a way to go. You look at AUD as well, similar story there, not much, going on there as well. If you look at where we are trading, look where we are trading right now. Let's just get this all packaged up. All right, look where we're trading right now, and then you notice that we're also very close to this overhead resistance here, Friday's high. So if I wanted to look at this as well, I like to see a clearing out of this level before looking to latch onto anything here so far today. Finally, you have CAD-JPY as well. If I wanted to also look at this, yes, oil prices ticking higher, but convictions there are not so strong just yet. And then if you want to, look out for this as well, you notice that we're still within, technically we don't still have that go ahead, that trigger to look for anything here. I like to still be more patient. It could be a very slow day and wait out for more, clearer signals or more higher conviction opportunities before looking to jump into anything so far into the session. On the calendar, it's going to be a very light one, and we don't have so much on the wires. Yes, BOE Governor Bailey on the wires. Apart from that, you have a couple of other Bank of England members also on the wires. But apart from that, we don't really have so much going on. It's going to be a light one. They could go out slowly instead of looking to just jumping into any trade opportunity. How about you're more patient and wait for a more clearer, more high conviction trade opportunity? So that's it for now. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask, and would always, do our best to help. Thank you. Do enjoy the rest of the trading session. Goodbye for now.